when women, brides and mother of the brides are getting ready for the big day, and they may have gone to Sephora to get some help or a trial run and hate what they've encountered there. And it's because a lot of those salespeople don't listen. They have their own agenda, their own color collection that they're trying to push. And you just need to say, okay, what's your comfort level with makeup? How much do you wear? What look are you looking for? And I had that driven home earlier this spring with a bride, and I was all about wanting to make her photo ready. I wanted her makeup to last all day. She said she didn't wear much and she didn't want much. And so I was sensitive to that. And she came back 2 weeks later because I encouraged her to do that and to give me some notes. And she said, no, I just feel like it was too much. And I said, okay, let's take it down a notch and let me try a few other things. And she was
to another episode of Women Investing in Women. Robin and I take great joy and delight in week after week presenting different women from different walks of life, making impact in the world of women to empower them, to bring out the best in them, so that every woman can show up in her power to make an impact and live her purpose. And today is not going to be any different. Think about how when we look good, we feel good. And when we feel good, we are able to show up and accomplish all the things we set our hearts and minds to. Hold that thought in your mind. And also remember, when women succeed financially, economically, and entrepreneurially, the society succeeds. And the United Nations data shows that when women are empowered and enter the economic ballgame, the bottom line impact for our global society is $7 trillion US dollars. 7 trillion in the modern day. So there's a lot of power we hold in our hands. Where do we learn from? How do we get ready for it? How do we show up? And what are some of those examples? That is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I cannot wait for my co-host, Robin, to get this going. Robin, take it away.
All right. I am so delighted. I have been so looking forward to this conversation with Kris and Kim of Merle Norman in Montrose, California. And they are literally just a few blocks from me right now. And I have been going to their store for decades. I took all three of my daughters to their store. And actually, I grew up in Boise, Idaho. And when my mom took me in to get my first makeup, she took me to Merle Norman. And so I've been thrilled to have this connection. And so I want to quickly turn the ball over to you, but tell us, how did you get involved in this? And tell us a little bit about Merle Norman, because maybe people have not heard of the woman. There's an actual woman, Merle Norman, and how all of this got started and how you got involved in this absolutely beautiful enterprise.
Kris, go ahead.
Kris.
All right, I'll talk about Merle Norman. I'll let Kim talk about our personal history. Merle Norman was a woman. She lived in Santa Monica, and in 1931, she developed 3 products. On her kitchen stove is the legend. They still have the kitchen stove at the plant. And friends started wanting those products, and she would demonstrate. And then friends started wanting to sell those products. So the business grew, and pretty soon women started opening their own Merle Norman studios. So in the early 30s, we were in the middle of a depression. Women had just had the right to vote for 10 years. And here's a woman that is launching a women-based business and empowering women to own their own business and be their own bosses. It has grown, obviously. We're all across the country, more heavily, densely populated in Texas and through the Midwest and the South. And I'm not sure how many studios there are now. Of course, we've evolved, and the company does have an online presence now, which directs women to go to their local studio so that they can get the individual help that is optimum. But yeah, the company continues to thrive. We have cutting edge skincare, state of the art color products, and it's just, yeah, it's a fun product to sell. So talk about us.
And Merle Norman is still family owned and still made in Los Angeles. So that's the other part of it. Kris and I, our mother actually started working in a clothing store in Temple City in the 50s. And in 1956, the owner heard about Merle Norman and said, I'd like to bring it into the shop and maybe you could go train for it. So our mother in 1956 with 2 children, so I wasn't around yet. She went to Los Angeles and worked it around her schedule and did training with Merle Norman. So, and she worked in that as a manager in that store for a long time. And then eventually in the 70s, purchased that. And then in 79 decided that she wanted a second location, and that was Montrose. And so she in 1992 decided to retire and Kris and I had worked all along in the business and asked us if we would like to take it over. I had a 3 and 5-year-old. Kris had how old was Katie?
8.
8. So I was a little like, ooh, I don't know if we can do this, but we made it work, and we moved the location a couple of doors down to a smaller location and took out the clothing and just focused on Merle Norman. And immediately we started doing very well with just focusing on cosmetics. So here we are. We were going to do this until the kids were through college. We now have grandchildren, and our kids are definitely way past college. So we're still doing it.
Can we brag a little?
Oh, we are, yes.
Yeah.
We are the #1 studio in the country and have been. We just went to Nashville, and because of the pandemic, we weren't awarded for a while, but they awarded us for 5 years, from 2019 to 2023. Right?
Having top sales.
Having top sales. And that means that our sales are ahead of mall studios. And because we're in a big metropolis, small downtown location, but big metropolis, that's where we get. And we've got a great community that supports us and beyond. We send all across the country to people who've moved and that type of thing. So
that is fantastic. Congratulations, ladies.
thank you.
And
thank you.
what a journey of women over multiple generations.
Yes.
And that by itself is powerful. Growing up with an entrepreneurial mother long before women could have bank accounts and credit cards in the United States, because that happened in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yes.
How did it change your perception growing up as girls with your mother and watching other girls in your class, in your age group, who didn't have that luxury and that empowerment opportunity?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's all we knew. She would get up really early in the morning and put dinners together, lots of casseroles, but
And crock pots.
and then our job when we got home from school was to get things heated up, and she was always home at 6:30 so that we sat down as a family to eat. But it was really all we knew was having our both parents work. And we had grandmothers that were there, especially when Kim was younger, to watch over us. But yeah, I thought it was weird, girls that had mothers that just were home all day.
I have to interject that because it's very vivid to me that our mother, for me in the late 70s when I graduated from high school, and then a few years later, I bought my first car. I mean, I had a used car, but bought a new car, but she encouraged me to do that. And she also encouraged me to have credit cards. And even after I got married, to have credit cards in my name, because our father died pretty young and she had her own credit, but she had friends who had lost their husbands and they had no credit. They had nothing for their own identity. So she always encouraged us to make those purchases and get your own insurance and do all of those things. So, and have your own credit card. So I thought of that when you mentioned it.
That's pretty exciting. It's very interesting when you name these dates, 1931, And then it didn't occur to me until you said it, that women had only been voting for
Mhm.
10 years.
Yeah.
And then here's a woman who starts this company, gets it going, gets it thriving in an era, as Cass said, that women couldn't even have a credit card in their
Yeah.
name. And not until 1974 could a woman have a credit card in her name. And so what's interesting to me is the notion of female entrepreneurship thriving even in the midst of constraints. And I believe that that is a very important life lesson, which is only right now just popping into my head. That's why these conversations are very organic. This is a life lesson that even given constraints, people can find avenues to thrive
Mhm,
and to
mhm.
innovate.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh.
Um,
I went right to COVID
Yeah,
when
and
you
this
said
is-
that,
and
because
this is a good story. 'Cause-
and when that Thursday when we were told to close our business and turn the lights off and not work, Kris and I looked at each other and went, well, no, we can't do that. So we decided that we were going to work individually in the store with the lights out, and then try and get the word out that we were available for shipping, and we could push stuff out the door, and we could deliver, and that type of thing. So that's what, you in a small business, you pivot all the time. Every day there's just sometimes a new challenge that you just have to pivot and go a different direction. So that's the
Yeah,
first thing that came to
yeah,
my
but
mind.
Those first few days were huge. The phone didn't stop ringing and women were panic buying, 2s and 3s, and they just didn't know when they were going to be able to get a hold of their products again. And then it leveled off, and then we definitely had a slow year. But we were back.
But we also did gain customers that
Yeah.
said, I want to support you. I don't want to see you go away. And we
Yeah.
want to support you. What kind of cleansers do you have?
Yeah.
And that
Women in the neighborhood that were out walking, and it's like, well, I can't go to the department store, so I need a cleanser. So yeah, and those people have stayed with us, so it's nice.
I hope we answered your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that truly is a testament to women investing in women in every different way possible. And as you're talking, what is coming up for me is a lot of times daughters are raised to get married, get the richest, well-educated guy, start a family, focus on your family. And I have known daughters in the West being told, don't plan too much with your sister, because you're both going to go to different homes, start different families, and there's going to be competition whose family is doing better than the other. I grew up in a different part of the world, so marriage was not the primary for us. But I see that even now in the Caribbean, I mentor young girls, and girls who want to do business together, their parents themselves say, don't plan on it because you're going to go into different directions. Your husbands are not going to allow it. Talk to us about the importance of, first of all, how were you able to stay focused as sisters in spite of sibling rivalry that can be there, right?
Yeah.
How do you get past that, and how do you do this through marriages and competing priorities and different family needs?
Yeah, good question. First of all, there's 9.5 years difference between us. So we don't have a lot of the sibling rivalry that kids that are closer in age, because we were almost raised separately. But we were a very, very close family, very, very tight knit. I remember the one and only time I went to summer camp when I think I was 10. Oh, it was Kim's first birthday that summer, and I cried the whole time I was gone because I missed being home for her first birthday. So I think that helped a lot. And we have our ups and downs, I mean, definitely, but fortunately, our husbands are very, yeah, have gone along with the flow. They've had their own careers, and
It's very much like a marriage, and you have to, give and take. And, I have my strengths of, I like to merchandise and clean and now social media. And, emails and that kind of thing, where Kris is the business side. She does the bookwork, and
Payroll, ordering, yeah,
all of that.
yeah,
And the other thing, the success of our business is that we are here. We don't, some Merle Norman studios really say, how do you guys do so well? And it's because one of us is here every day. We have wonderful employees who treat it like their own, which is great. But we're here to remember names, and you know, that relationship that we've built up over 33 years. So, so yes, very much like a marriage.
That's really beautiful. I want to do a little slight pivot here and maybe get into the philosophical side of, you know, women's beauty and feeling good. Like Cass said, when we feel good, then there's a higher probability that we will act
oh,
well.
absolutely.
And so I'm wondering about the notion of women's beauty and enhancing what is, as opposed to saying, well, you're all wrong and you need to be changed. The philosophical notion of enhancing what is and helping women feel that what they have
Yeah.
is great. And then I liked what you said about innovation. So you can talk about that as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of information that women are getting online is no, don't do this. Don't wear shimmer. Don't, you know, and they're negatives instead of saying, yes, you can. This is how you would do it to enhance your features. Oh my gosh, brain fog. Take over, Kim.
I don't know where you were going. What I was going to say was that when women come in, we never tell them things are wrong.
Yeah.
We try and it's probably our sales training from our mother, is that we try and kind of work things into a different direction. But we really listen to our customers, and really our questions are like, what are you doing now? How are you doing it? Do you have an eye cream in your routine? That kind of thing to work into it. We're very not high pressure at all, but somehow we have very high sales.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's answered the question.
Listening is so important to women, especially when women, brides and mother of the brides, are getting ready for the big day, and they may have gone to Sephora to get some help or a trial run and hate what they've encountered there. And it's because a lot of those salespeople don't listen. They have their own agenda, their own color collection that they're trying to push. And you just need to say, okay, what's your comfort level with makeup? How much do you wear? What look are you looking for? And I had that driven home earlier this spring with a bride, and I was all about wanting to make her photo ready. I wanted her makeup to last all day. She said she didn't wear much and she didn't want much. And so I was sensitive to that. And she came back 2 weeks later, because I encouraged her to do that and to give me some notes. And she said, no, I just feel like it was too much. And I said, okay, let's take it down a notch and let me try a few other things. And she was happy. Then the day of the wedding, she said, no, it was still too much. And I said, okay, my concerns are, I don't think it's going to last for the whole. And she said, you know what? I want my guests to see me the way I am every day. I really don't care. And I said, great. I needed to hear that. You really reminded me that I didn't listen carefully enough. So, you know, we just really took it down a notch, and she was very happy with a few simple things that I did. And off she went to enjoy her party. So,
and it can go the other way too. You'll have a bride that says, I wear nothing and will do very little, maybe on the trial. And we had one Saturday. She's like, I want eyelashes. I want more. I'm like, okay.
All caught up in the wedding drama. So yeah, listening is a huge thing. And I think it comes naturally to both of us. But it's surprising how many people in all different facets of life don't listen. They like to talk, but they don't listen to what the other person is saying.
Yep.
And that is amazing you say that, because secret to your ability to do business together is you listen to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when you listen to each other and you listen to yourself, then you can listen to others, because we normally can't give what we don't have for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to hear. It's amazing how time flies. So before we get too further down the road, I would love for you to share with our audience how they can find you and get a hold of you, your business, and also any nugget of wisdom you have for women, because this is an age where everybody's in front of a camera. I never thought I would be in front of a camera. I didn't even want pictures on my wedding day because I didn't like being photographed. And my husband's boss took pictures.
Mm.
And here I am in front of a camera all day working and recording and doing all of it. So what advice do you have for women as we think of bringing this to a close, along with how to get a hold of you?
Well, I think it's important to seek out some advice. If you're absolutely don't have a clue what to do or how to do it, sometimes women's mothers never wore makeup and they just don't know where to begin. Seek out a professional that you have a connection with, and then ask for help. And we teach how, because we can't do it for women every day, so we teach them how to do their own makeup, and we start with little and we build from there.
Yeah, somebody can come in for eyebrows, which is a big hot topic, and then we just go, oh, let's just do a little here, a little there. Just keep it very simple, and it can work into more, and they can come back later and do more. My little nugget, and can I do one more? The nugget that I was going to say is, we had a woman call yesterday who was going to be 100 years old next week. And she said, I've been using Merle Norman since I was 16, but Kris figured out that the company was 10 years old at that time. But the longevity, we get to meet these lovely ladies who are older that have been using Merle Norman for a long time, but we equally love the younger generation and getting them to know about Merle Norman and the history. So
How do you find us?
you find us, we're open Monday through Friday, 10 till 6, and Saturday, 10 till 5. Our phone is always open to leave messages. We do mail orders, and we're very good at that, and we quickly get things out to people if they call us. We do have Instagram and Facebook. I like Instagram a lot. We are at MNC at whatever it
Montrose?
is. Montrose. I'm sorry, MNC Montrose.
Montrose.
At MNC Montrose. Sorry about that. And then you can always find us on Facebook just by searching Montrose, California. There is a Montrose, Colorado. We are Montrose, California. So I think that's,
Yeah.
Well, that is really wonderful. Again, it's been thrilling having you on the show. I know that you have met many, many challenges, both internal challenges and external challenges, and just a huge congratulations. And the message that you send to women, carrying forward the Merle Norman message from 1931, that women can do great things, even in the midst of tremendous challenges. And if they care about their communities and care about the world at large, that they can light a flame and carry a torch for their own generation, for prior generations, and for the future generations. So thank you so much for being
thank you
part
so
of
much.
this.
Yeah, this was fun.
This women investing in women, literally. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.